Hey guys, it's Ashley. Welcome to another edition of Sparky Loves Books BookTube. I apologize for my voice in this episode if I sound a little funky. I am getting over a cold. I'm on the home stretch of this cold. I'm hoping with a lot of rest and relaxation, so I apologize for the weird sounding voice. Today I'm going to be talking about my March 2016 book haul. I received quite a lot of books in March and bought quite a few for myself. It was my birthday month, so I got a fairly decent stack of books for my birthday, and a huge thank you to everybody who got me books for my birthday. It is so appreciated. I can't tell you how much it means to me. And there's quite a few to go through, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So the first batch of books are all books that I bought for myself at the local bookstore near where I work. It's about a 10-minute walk from where I work, and it is a secondhand shop. The first is Books and Islands in Ojibwe Country by Louise Erdrich. If you've been watching my videos, you know that Louise Erdrich is one of my favorite authors of all time. I am on the hunt to find all of her books that are published and own them all. I have a very good sized stack of them so far. I think I have about 13 or 14 of her books in total, and they range from essays to nonfiction to poetry to fiction to middle grade, so she does a little bit of everything, but it's always Native American themed, and so I just love her writing style and learning more about those cultures. And when I saw this in the bookshop, I knew I had to pick it up because, again, I'm trying to get all of her books. Next is a very short classic novel by James M. Barrie called What Every Woman Wants, and this was really cheap. This was only about $1, and I really just picked this up because I want to get back into reading some classics, and this is really short, and it's a play, and it's a classic, so I figured this would be a nice jump back into reading some older stuff and some classics. Next, I got volume 2 of the Rat Queens series. I own but haven't read the first volume yet, but I saw this in the bookstore, and they hardly have any graphic novels besides superhero novels by DC and Marvel. I saw this in here and knew that I had to get it because, one, it was a rarity to even find it there, and two, I already own number 1 and I plan on reading it within the next 2 months, so now I will be able to go right into number 2 after I finish the first one, whenever that happens. Next is Prudence by Gail Carriger. She's the same author as the Parasol Proctor and the Finishing School series, which are both steampunk related, and this is also a steampunk novel. The Finishing School series is a young adult series by her, and then the Parasol Proctor series is an adult one. I did not like the Finishing School series at all. I didn't even finish the second book. I barely got through the first one. It was just not working for me. But I love the Parasol Proctor series, but I think it's completely original and wonderful to read. I highly recommend it. Because I have those two very conflicting emotions about her series, I definitely wanted to give this a try, and this is the first one of the series. And I know that Annie from Travel the World with a Flask of Tea on Tumblr, or Bloom TV on YouTube, really likes her, so I am determined to give her another try with another series because I will always listen to a recommendation from Annie. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm not sure if this is young adult or adult. I think it's young adult though, but it's a little bit older young adult than the Finishing School series, so hopefully that'll help a little bit with the writing and the characters and the development and everything. Next is Every Day by David Levithan. I got this because I saw it is being talked about a lot lately on Tumblr and on Goodreads, and I think it just had a sequel come out fairly recently, and this has been getting a lot of good reviews, and so I saw it for like $3 at the bookshop, so I picked it up because it has, like I said, a really high rating and really high reviews. So I'm not quite sure what it's about, but I have liked everything else David Levithan has done. I like his writing style and I like his characters, so I am anticipating that this will probably be very good whenever I do get the chance to pick it up. Next we have Walk the Earth a Stranger by Ray Carson, which again gets a lot of hype on Goodreads and some on Tumblr too, but I saw this in the bookstore, and again the title jumped out at me because I've been seeing it so often lately, and it seems like it's kind of a Western fantasy book, and I have been trying to find more young adult westerns besides Vengeance Road by Aaron Bowman. That was the one that I found that I haven't read yet, but it seemed like it was so out of the normal for young adult books that I was like, oh, like, I didn't even think about the possibility of a young adult Western genre. So I had been sort of seeing that this was kind of a young adult Western, and also just based on the description it seems like it. So I am very intrigued by this book. I am really looking forward to this and really sort of branching out of like the stereotypical sort of young adult books that have been coming out lately. Next is the 7th volume of the Ikigami series by Motoro Mace, which is the only manga series that I've ever read. I'm only on book 4. I don't even own books 5 or 6, and this is number 7, like I said. But again, like with the Rat Queens, there's never any Ikigami books anywhere, let alone in that bookstore. So even though this is a bit ahead of the series from where I am, I still knew that, like, if I didn't get this, I would very, very much regret it. And I will eventually get to book 7 because it's a really cool series. I highly recommend this series about alternate sort of universe or dystopian Japanese country where everyone gets like this insertion when they're born, and when the government decides that there's an overpopulation, they send you this Ikigami card, and you are alerted that you're going to die in 24 hours by having this pill release something inside you in order to control population. And the main character is the deliverer of Ikigami cards. That's his job. He works for the government, and that's what he does. So this is not only about his struggle in determining whether or not this is actually a good system, but it's also about the citizens he gives the Ikigami cards to, and it goes through their last day before they're gonna die. So kind of what the decisions they make based on knowing that they're gonna die. So it's an incredible series, very interesting, and I, again, really, really recommend it. It's a fantastic story and a fantastic idea. So pick this up if you ever find a copy of it. It's really hard to find copies of it, so yeah, go for it. Next is Half Wild by Sally Green. I already own Half Bad. I actually got an advanced reader copy of it a couple years ago. I had been meaning to get back into it because I knew that this one was out, but I just have been distracted by other books, and I think that now that I have a copy of the second book, I will reread the first one, since it's been like at the very least 2 years, I think, since I read Half Bad. I'm really excited about this. I plan on picking this up again probably in the next 2 months, so yay! Next is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness, which is the first book in the Chaos Walking series. This has been really high on my wish list for quite a while now, and I happened upon it, and it was only like $3.50. Basically, fate, the book gods, were like telling me, buy this book for yourself, you have to do it. So who am I to not listen to the book gods? I've never read any Patrick Ness before, but from what I understand, he's kind of like a creepy YA author. Not like him himself, but his books are kind of creepy, so I'm really excited to get into that. I'm probably going to end up ordering the second and third one so that I can just plow straight through these, because I'm kind of looking for something a little bit different than what I've been reading lately, and this seems like just the right fix. And the last books that I got from the bookshop, which are my absolute favorite finds from this haul, a 2-volume edition of The Greek Myths by Robert Graves. They are leather bound, and they have these wonderful covers on the front of them, and this map of ancient Greece on the inside, which I absolutely love. And the pages are just like crisp and clean and nice, and if I could smell, I would tell you how great these books smell, but I can't. I had seen these actually about 5 months ago at the bookstore, and I didn't have enough money at the time to buy them. So when I went back in a week later, when I did have the money, they were gone, and I was devastated. I searched everywhere for them. The guy was so nice. He's like, no, I know the exact ones you're talking about. I'm sure we have them, but he couldn't find them anywhere, and looked on his computer inventory and couldn't find them. And so he put me on the wish list for them. And when I happened to go into the bookstore in March, I saw that they were back, which is a little bit annoying because I put myself on the wish list for them. They didn't tell me they were there, but it doesn't matter because they were there when I was there, and so I bought them because that would be a huge regret and a huge stupid mistake if I hadn't bought them. So this next segment is other books that I just bought for myself throughout the rest of the month. They aren't a part of that book haul from that one specific bookstore. The first one is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire Saenz. This is read by Lin-Manuel Miranda. This is an audiobook version. I've already listened to it, and I really just bought this because Lin-Manuel Miranda reads it. I have already read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I actually read it last March. It struck a chord with me. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read. I've been meaning to reread it because the copy I first had was a library loan when I read it last year, and I wanted to reread it so I could take notes in it and highlight it and, you know, really get into it. So I did buy my own copy, and I was going to reread that copy of it, but then my friend Gabi told me that Lin-Manuel Miranda reads this book, which is like utter perfection. This is like a mashing of two perfect worlds. Like, not only is this a young adult book, not only is it one of my favorite young adult books ever, but freaking Lin-Manuel Miranda reads it. Like, could it get any better? Like, he's amazing. You guys know he does Hamilton. He's like perfect, and he does a really great job of reading this. Actually, I feel like he was a perfect choice for being the narrator for it, because of his background and just because he has a good voice in general. I really enjoyed this. I'm planning on doing another review of this very, very soon for this reread that I did, and if you are into audiobooks at all, especially young adult ones, I really recommend getting this audiobook. It is absolutely wonderful. Next we have 3 books by Cassie West. They're all YA contemporary books. It's The Fill-In Boyfriend, On the Fence, and The Distance Between Us. Now, I already read these in January, but I got library loans again when I read them, and I really enjoyed them, and I wanted to do a book talk specifically about these books here on this booktube channel of mine. And while I did write some stuff down in my book journal, I didn't write nearly enough, so I bought these for very, very cheap online so that I could reread them and write in them and do a full like analysis and review of them so I could do a book talk on her books, because I think they're really good books and I really recommend them if you like YA contemporary. Look out for a booktube video about Cassie West YA contemporary coming soon. Next is I Was Here by Gail Foreman. This is the UK paperback edition, and I got this because 1, it was dirt cheap, and 2, because I have a problem. I have so many copies of Gail Foreman's books, and I keep buying them because I keep buying various hardcover versions, various paperback, movie cover editions, different countries editions of it. And I like having as many editions of my favorite books as possible, and Gail Foreman is like my favorite author of all time. I have a problem. Next is The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, and I got this so that I could complete my collection of Shadowhunter Chronicles. I really like the feeling of having an entire series, you know, on my bookshelf, all in the same format. I'm probably going to be reading this very soon because I'm going to be reading Lady Midnight very soon. Since that technically like takes place after the Bane Chronicles, I think I want to read Bane Chronicles first and maybe some of the Shadowhunter Academy books. I want to read both of those things before I read Lady Midnight, so I am very excited to add to my hardcover Cassandra Clare collection. Finally, Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, which came out in March and I have yet to read because, as aforementioned, I have other books in the Shadowhunter Chronicle series that I want to read first. I'm really excited to get into it and get back into the Shadowhunter world. I don't even know if I can handle it. I've been hearing some non-spoilery things, but basically that it's very emotional, so even though it's big, I'm probably going to get through it pretty fast. And finally, we have the books that I received as gifts for my birthday in the month of March. Thank you again if any of you who got me books are watching. I really appreciate it. I was dying for most of these books, and I was lucky enough to get most of them, so yay! First, my lovely friend Annie, who's over on Bloom TV. I will leave a link to her channel below in the description. She got me 2 books for my birthday. The Last Time We Say Goodbye by Cynthia Hand and Black Widow Forever Read by Margaret Stoll. I'm really excited for both of them. This one, The Last Time We Say Goodbye, has been getting a lot of good reviews, and it's supposed to be about an individual dealing with, I believe, a family member who had mental illness and committed suicide. Mental illness is a hot topic for me. I always like reading books that deal with mental illness issues, so I'm really, really looking forward to picking this up. And again, thank you so much, Annie, for getting this for me. It means a lot to me, and it was, again, very high on my wish list. And then this is just cool, like Black Widow Forever Read. Why wouldn't I get this book? A young adult book about Black Widow, written by an author who I already like. Do I need to even say any more? Like, what am I even doing making a video? I should be reading this book right now. Next, we have a book from my friend Gabi, whose website is Let's Gab About Books. I will leave a link to her website in the description below, and it is The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner. I went to go see her when I was in Washington last month, or February, And she talked about this book so much, and she has such a great taste in books that I went home and I had planned on buying this book for myself, but she ended up getting it for me for my birthday, which is awesome. I'm really looking forward to this, and because it came so highly recommended from Gabi, I'll probably read it very, very soon. Next we have Vendetta by Catherine Doyle, which was a gift from my friend Audrey over at Pocahontas Little Book Nook. I'll leave a link to her YouTube channel below. I was also going to get this book for myself too because she talks about it all the time, and every time she talks about books she's basically like, Ashley, read this book, it's amazing. It's Audrey, so obviously I was gonna just buy it for myself because I trust her and she's the cupcakiest of all the cupcakes. She was like, by the way, don't buy Vendetta by Catherine Doyle because I'm planning on buying it for you for your birthday. And she did, because she's wonderful, so I'm excited for this. The amount of excitement she has for it makes me even more excited for it. And look at that, like, spine. Next we have 3 books from my friend Charlene. The first is The Disenchantments by Nina LaCour. This was really high on my wish list because, one, I had just finished Hold Still by Nina LaCour in January. It was really good. It let me down a little bit just because I had some really high expectations for that book because Nina LaCour wrote it. Secondly, I really, really love Everything Leads to You. I think it is a beautiful book that is just well written. It isn't about anything crazy. It's a really simple and very beautiful story. When I saw she has other books, I put them on my wish list, and so I'm really excited to have this one. I'm honestly not even sure what it's about. I just basically knew that she wrote it and wanted it. Next is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. I already have Shadow and Bone. I'm sad to say I have not read it yet. Don't have Ruin Rising yet. I plan on reading the Grisha trilogy in 2016, but I kind of want to wait until I get the 3rd and final book before I start on them so I can just kind of plow through them. Everybody loves it on every book-related website and social media and reviews, and everybody loves it so much. But I'm definitely going to read all 3 of these books in 2016. It is a goal of mine. And last from Charlene is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which I have already read, but again, it was a library loan. I really need to start reading books from the library. I just end up buying them anyway. This book just, like, left me speechless and has stuck with me ever since I read it in late 2014. It's a young adult Greek fiction novel, which you don't find enough of, especially ones that are well written. This tells the story of Patroclus and Achilles and them growing up together and their relationship and going through the Trojan War together, and it's just exquisite and well done. I love the perspective of Patroclus. I think it is a very inventive route to go when telling a fictional story about the Trojan War, and I am just an absolute Greek nerd, so finding more young adult fiction about ancient Greece is just awesome. So that's another big reason why this story lingered with me, and I'm so happy to finally have my own copy of it. Next we have a box set of The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This was a gift from my mom for my birthday. Thank you, Mom. I used to have a 7-in-1 volume, 1-book edition of Chronicles of Narnia, but I think I accidentally donated to the bookstore that I used to work at, so I have been without a Narnia series set, and that has been hard for me, and I finally have one, and I love box sets. I don't own nearly enough of them, and that's the dangerous thing about having her buy this for me, is because now I'm just going to want to go out and buy more of them. This next book was a gift from my grandma for my birthday, and it is the Gilmore Girls Companion, which couldn't be timed any more perfectly, what with all the new Gilmore Girls revival series stuff happening. Melissa McCarthy was just confirmed, and there have been some photos with them on set, and it's just perfect timing. I'm so excited. My mom and I are huge Gilmore Girls fans. It is, like, ridiculous how well we know Gilmore Girls. Even just looking at it right now while talking about it, I'm getting all excited. But next is a book from my uncle. This is John Steinbeck, The Acts of King Arthur and His Noble Knights. I didn't even know John Steinbeck wrote this book in all my years working at the bookstores. I never saw this book by him. I love medieval literature, both fictional and non-fictional. He actually gave this to me because he owns it, and he was like, I don't know why I even own it. I've read it, and you have all the books, Ashley, so you should have this one too. So this was a wonderful and lovely, thoughtful gift from him, so I'm very appreciative of this. The fact that he wrote about Camelot is just, like, mind-blowing to me. And that's it. Those are all the books from March 2016. Quite a few. I'm not even going to try and hoist them all up to show them because I'm pretty sure with my lack of skills with this cold, I would just hurt myself and have to be driven to the hospital, which would be a huge inconvenience for my husband. Let me know what you think of the books that I got, if you have any opinions on them, if you've read them, and if any of them are your favorites. And I will see you next time with another video. Happy reading!